Morning, I'm Commissioner Christian Leinbach, and I want to welcome you to the Berks County Board of Commissioners meeting for April the 1st. We are broadcasting live via Microsoft Teams live event and also broadcasting on BCTV, Facebook, and YouTube live. At this time, I'd like to recognize my executive assistant, Mary Buer. Mary?
Thank you. Public comment will be accepted through the Q&A function. Please include your first name, last name, and municipality. Any comments without name and municipality will not be considered. Each citizen can submit one comment. Comment length is dictated by limitations of the platform being used: Teams, Q&A, Facebook, YouTube. The meeting comment period is limited to 30 minutes in total. Please be concise. Comments will be read during the meeting and should not be considered to be interactive dialogue with the commissioners. Any commissioner response to public comment will be done at the discretion of the commissioners.
Thank you very much, Mary. We will begin, as we always do, with a moment of silence, followed by a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will begin this morning, as we do each week, with the Berks County COVID-19 data report. It's being given by Brian Gottschall, the director of our Berks County Department of Emergency Services, as well as the lead for the Berks County COVID-19 leadership team. Brian Gottschall.
Good morning, Commissioner. Thank you. Yes, April 1st. I assure you that nothing we're reporting today is a April Fool's joke. In fact, it's somewhat serious given some changes that we're seeing in our data report compared to the last few weeks. Starting out, looking at the state early warning dashboard, as we always do, this is the data from last Friday, the most current data on the dashboard. This is for Berks County, not for the Commonwealth as a whole, as I wanted to kind of be very specific and take a look at Berks so that our viewers understood that this isn't just an aggregated issue, but a local problem too. And what we see is that all of our indicators are now trending upward. I don't believe that we're seeing massive upward trending, but we've now seen a number of weeks of upward trending in positivity as well as cases. And as we've learned over the last couple of weeks, hospitalizations and then ultimately deaths are lagging indicators to those cases. We are now seeing those hospitalizations tick up also on the early warning dashboard. This is our look at testing and cases. Testing in orange, cases in blue. And as always, these are smooth statistics over 7 days for testing and 14 days for cases to take out any of those up and down variations that we see from day to day. And again, we continue to see an upward trend over the last number of weeks from our kind of low point at the end of February. And if you kind of look backwards, we're at somewhat of a similar point to where we were in last November when we saw things really start to move in an upward way again. I've said it many times over the weeks here that we've been giving this report that mistakes that we make today and good things that we do today, we either pay for or get the benefit of a number of weeks after we do them. And the reason I say that is that this is not kind of a hopeless situation, for lack of a better term. We as a community can redouble our efforts to implement the mitigation measures that we all know and have learned over the last year and try to do a better job in an effort to turn this curve back downward again so that we don't see that steep upward climb as we did through November and into December. The opportunity is there for all of us to work together to do the right things and have a positive impact to help turn this around again. Our positivity continues to follow our case counts, where we see an increasing number of our tests that are being done in the community coming back at a positive level, where we're up at almost the 40% level at this point in time. Again, when we call out all of the institutional and repetitive testing that's being done and look only at that first-time testing. On the good news front, our deaths continue to remain relatively flat. That is not unexpected because, as we said, deaths is the final lagging indicator after hospitalizations to increased case count. The concern, of course, is that we would start to see these deaths climb again a number of weeks after our cases and hospitalizations have begun to climb. Again, just representing that, reminding the public that we see these two lines, the blue line being our case count, the black line being our deaths, on two different scales, but we're looking here at the time trend. As we see cases go up, a number of weeks later, we see deaths go up. As we see cases go down, a number of weeks later, we see deaths go down. So we want to keep reminding everybody that this isn't just about people catching the virus, being asymptomatic, having to isolate, maybe even feeling a little bit sick, getting better, and then moving along with their lives. While that is certainly the outcome that many people are able to enjoy, there are people in our community that are not able to weather this well, and clearly the more cases we have, the more deaths we have. We don't know that exact ratio. We can't say that just because we had 1,000 new cases, that's going to result in X number of new deaths. But we know that these lines move together in an upward and downward fashion. Our local hospital reporting follows along with what DOH has been saying. We saw a number of weeks of downward trend in our hospital numbers, but beginning 3 weeks ago, we did see that start to reverse and slowly begin climbing. We again see those cases climbing a small amount this week with respect to the known and suspected cases in-house among our two hospitals. This is another chart that we've saw for a number of weeks was relatively unchanged. The bad news is that this week we see that our ordering by cases per capita going up again. In fact, I went back and looked at some of our archive data, and the last time that we were 8th in number of cases per capita in the Commonwealth was in November of last year. So again, this reiterates that we're starting to see these trends look like they did into the late fall of last year, when we saw what we started to refer to as the holiday surge or the second surge or whatever you want to call it. On the vaccine front, we have I want to correct something. Last week, I reported that we were 11th in number of partially vaccinated, and this week I went back and counted again and realized that I have difficulty counting beyond my fingers. In fact, we were actually 10th last week. That has held the same this week, where we are 10th by number of partially vaccinated, and we have fallen to 13th by number of fully vaccinated, which is not unexpected because we're again coming out of those weeks where we had low allocations from the Commonwealth. So since we had a low allocation of new vaccines in those weeks, we have to kind of wait a month to 5 weeks until the number of fully vaccinated equalizes out after those reduced numbers. Again, I showed this chart last week. This is the state's new mapping tool, which I like much better than their old mapping tool because it focuses on where people can get first doses. I would encourage folks to go to Pennsylvania DOH's website to look at that if they're trying to find vaccine. I will also note that last week we had approximately 21,000 doses received in Berks County among 21 providers, and that is first and second doses. I'll talk about the first dose thing in just a moment. Our eye chart, which has improved slightly since we don't show everybody that's gotten vaccine from the beginning. We're only focusing on those providers that are getting vaccine currently, but it does continue to show what it has in the past, that we have some key providers in the Commonwealth who are delivering in the county, who are delivering the vast majority of our vaccine. This chart, because it's starting to get very big, I've taken weeks 1 through 6 and condensed them into a single line because I didn't feel that that data was really important or worth looking at anymore on a week-by-week basis, and it allowed me to still show all of the weeks then on a single chart. But again, as you can see, we climbed about 1,000 doses from 2 weeks ago until last week, but that increase was mostly in second doses, not first doses, as I'll talk about in a moment. looking at how we rank among the other top 10 most populated counties in the state with respect to the allocation of doses per capita, you can see in the top chart how everybody falls out with respect to the cumulative numbers over the 15 weeks. And then in the bottom chart showing week 15 alone, which is where the state indicates that they're now kind of making a correction and they found a new benchmark, if you will, that we're going to be operating at as far as all of these counties. So because over 15 weeks, we are 51st per capita, it's going to take a very long time for that number to get better, even though now on a week-by-week basis, we're kind of around the middle end of the state, along with many of the other most populated counties. We again, just to reiterate to the public, are continuing to do what we can to advocate to DOH to increase the allocation to the most populated counties to help to correct these numbers and get them back up where they really should be. But the frank, honest truth is that we're having limited traction in that regard, and DOH isn't lying to us. They're not placating us. They're telling us right out what our allocation is going to be. And that brings us to our final slide, which, as we said last week, DOH is telling us for the foreseeable future, we are going to see approximately 12,000 first doses coming into Berks County from the PA allocation. On top of that, we add the reasonably small number of doses that are going out to the Federal Pharmacy Partnership, like the Rite Aids, the CVS's, and the Topco pharmacies. And then plus we have some odds and ends, which are vaccine allocations that come in from various different sources that change things on a week-to-week basis, but are nothing that we can count on as far as a definitive allocation. So the fact of the matter is that we have to accept that apart from finding those new sources of vaccine where we can, we are looking at a 12,000 first dose per week benchmark coming in from DOH in their terms for the foreseeable future until there's a significant change in allocation from the federal government to the state. And that is the conclusion of the report for this week, Commissioner. So certainly if there are any questions.
Thank you very much, Brian. In the Q&A, there is a question from Jean Archer that maybe you can answer. She says, question related, and Jean Archer, Spring Township, question related to the March 2021 Berks County COVID-19 data from PA DOH. Is there an explanation as to why the March 2021 daily number of positive cases reported by the PA Department of Health for Berks County varies so much from day to day? During the month, the average number of daily new positive cases was 135 cases, with a high number of 316 cases and a low number of cases of 36. Daily swings in cases have been as high as 179. Can you answer that, Brian?
Partially, yes and no. I think probably the best way to answer it is to say that I can't answer it with conclusivity, but I will reiterate that we always discourage folks from looking at non-smooth numbers. So I have my screen share up again on a different document. This is the magic behind the scenes. This is the document that we do all of the tracking on and generate our graphics from. And as just to reiterate, I showed this in the slideshow. You can see the smooth graphic here that shows that data smoothed out over a multi-day period. And then if I scroll down, this is what that data actually looks like on the left-hand side going all the way back to the fall, and on the right-hand side on the left-hand side going all the way back to the beginning to March, and on the right-hand side going back to the fall. And you can see, as Ms. Archer notes, that these cases fluctuate up and down dramatically on a daily basis. We can't explain why that happens. We've even seen in this particular spike here, about 2/3 of the way across the graph, numbers that were astronomical at one period of time that was explained to us by DOH as a data catch-up. So we don't know kind of where that data goes for multiple days, that it gets kind of lost and has to be caught up. We know that the laboratories work at different tempos. Of course, if they're overwhelmed with testing in a given period of time, we know that they can't get it all done in that one day, and they then have to kind of catch up in a later day, which represents an increase in cases that are reported reported for that day. We know that we see a trend where on weekends we see the numbers go down kind of low and then pop back up again following the weekend. So there are a number of things that we believe contribute to this, like testing volume, like things like holidays and weekends, and like backups in the laboratory systems, but we can't explain on any given particular day why the number might go up and down dramatically, except to say that we recognize it does, and that's why we encourage, even in our media partners, as we discuss things with the Reading Eagle and WFMZ, and they'll run a story, big spike in cases, and then the next day, big drop in cases, and then the next day, big spike in cases. It really makes a lot more sense to look at it over a smooth period of time to better understand what that data is doing. So not a fully satisfying answer to Ms. Archer's question, but hopefully we at least address it to some degree.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions for Brian Gottschall? Very good. Thank you, Brian. We have a new report today, and this is not one that we'll do every single week, but our Area Agency on Aging has been working with seniors for quite some time since the vaccine opportunities have opened up. And we have Jessica Jones, the director of the Berks County Area Agency on Aging, and she's going to give a report on what they have been doing, and I believe also announcing some upcoming vaccine clinics that are scheduled. Jessica, you're muted. It happens to all of us.
I did hit unmute. Don't know what happened. Good morning, Commissioner. Thanks for the opportunity. I really find it part of our core mission here at the Area Agency on Aging to provide the assistance with the vaccinations to the older adults in Berks County. Our staff have committed a lot of resources and time to provide this assistance. To date, we have scheduled more than 600 vaccinations assisting individuals, but that is on top of thousands of phone calls that we're receiving, returning, vetting out, trying to assist older adults in getting vaccinated, individuals that are fitting into that 1A category. The other piece that we're doing and continue to work in tandem with are our providers, our provider network. So some of our providers for the senior centers, such as Berks Encore and the Hispanic Center, we've developed really great partnerships with them in utilizing those centers to be a site for vaccinations for the older adults and giving the seniors a level of comfort in those settings because it's familiar settings for them to actually be visiting and receiving their vaccinations. We've also developed a lot of partnerships throughout the community with St. Joe's Hospital and Tower Health in order to make a lot of those vaccination sites happen, and they continue at this point. Since the governor signed the order on last Thursday, it would have been the 25th of March, which required us to be working closely with the providers and the local pharmacies to assist the older adults with vaccinations. We've gotten a lot more information now here at the Area Agency on Aging, and it is a continual changing, sort of evolving list of vaccination sites that we become aware of. So that has helped us to help the older adults in Berks County actually gain access to the support and the service they need in order to gain to get the vaccination. We have about 3 primary focuses, if I have to kind of whittle it down. One is responding to the inquiries. So we are on a day-to-day basis getting dozens of phone calls, responding to inquiries from individuals asking, where can I get a vaccine? How can I get help? The second focus is assisting those individuals in scheduling appointments because, as a lot of us know, we've seen in the newspaper and we realize these seniors don't have access to online abilities to click a link and go into a sign up genius, understand how to work something like that. So what our staff are doing is they're providing personalized assistance on the phone, scheduling and slotting individuals in and providing them directions. The newest area of focus that we're currently working with is we're beginning discussions with the local providers, which is a really exciting opportunity to provide vaccinations for the homebound individuals. With the Johnson & Johnson vaccination becoming available, we are trying to get a source of providers that we can achieve this focus and move forward with getting individuals that we are identifying that fit in a truly homebound category vaccinated. And it's much easier if we're looking at one vaccination and going out and vaccinating someone as opposed to 2 different home visits. Because as you can all imagine, there's a lot of logistics that have to go around that and people that have to make that happen for those individuals. So at this point, some of the things that we're aware of that are going on locally within the community within the next week, we have 2 sites that are happening today, actually, through assistance with the Reading Housing Authority and the Hispanic Center. Oakside Pharmacy is providing vaccinations in the Glenside area. Also, we have a vaccination site happening at the Olivets today that's being hosted by Esterbrook Pharmacy. Ed Houdon of Medicine Shop in Boyertown, he's been in the newspaper. A lot of people recognize the name. He is serving the Boyertown area on the 3rd, which I think would be Saturday. They're having another vaccination site. Governor Mifflin, Mr. Deepak Patel, through the Medicine Shop in Shillington, has been doing a great job vaccinating the individuals in that sort of western pocket of the county, and they're holding another site, and they've had continual sites held at Governor Mifflin High School. There is an additional site that we are looking at helping out with, having an additional site at CASA at the Hispanic Center. We're targeting, I think it's April 16th. So we're starting to move forward with identifying individuals that would need assistance and moving them forward, slotting them in, and getting them appointments. So truly, in conclusion, I would just encourage people to call us if they need help, because again, this is an ongoing list of ever-changing pieces. For anyone 60 and over, we can help with linking them to vaccinations or helping them sign up. I encourage caregivers or family members to contact us. And I can't stress enough, even if we tell you we don't have information right then and there or on that day, we do take people's names, and we are trying to call back as quickly as possible when we do have the availability.
Yeah, and to that end, Jessica, last evening we did that. There were some slots that opened up today with the Berks Community Health Center, and through your office, approximately 20 additional people were able to be slotted in for those vaccines today. I appreciate the work that you're doing. We're not going to ask you to come every single week, but probably once or twice a month, it would be good to get an update, at least till we get over the vaccine hump. So thank you very much, Jessica, and thank you to your team. Please tell the folks working in our area agency for aging and all the volunteer entities you're working with that we appreciate all their work.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Thank you.
At this time, I want to recognize Commissioner Kevin Barnhart with the Cook County Wellness Contact Tracing Report. And I forgot to ask you, but I assume you'll give us the latest update on the BCHC County of Berks vaccine clinic that's being set up.
Sure will. Thank you. Good morning, Commissioner Leinbach and everyone else. The weekly report from Cook County Wellness for contact tracing, we hit another record high. March 24th to March 31st, 645 new contacts. last week, and 73% were successfully reached. That takes our total from June up to 11,047. And again, they're tracking 55 line lists, predominantly schools and educational institutions. And I think it just popped up on Ready Eagle this morning that Exeter High School is closed due to a COVID outbreak. So it's still here, it's still impactful. We certainly have to be mindful of what's taking place out there in the community. Let's do our part. Speaking of do your part, Berks.com. That's our website, doyourpartberks.com. Please go on there and sign on to our newsletter. You'll be getting our newsletter, and that's really going to be the focus of informing people when the vaccines will become available at our center, which is located at the North Reading Plaza in Muhlenberg. Finishing touches are being put on it as we speak, as well as staff is being hired on to help with Co-County Wellness with the call center, as well as staff to administer the vaccines to the Community Health Center. We discussed this again at length yesterday. This is not a sprint for us, it's more like a 5K. We plan to be here for the long haul, probably for the next several months. This is not necessarily, this isn't a pop-up center, this is an ongoing center. And now we're also talking about boosters and things like that as we go forward through the next several months. This will be there for the foreseeable future. Again, we've got the great partners. We have our marketing public information officer, Stephanie, is working on ads promoting the center, but nothing specific about when there's an appointment. That will really be driven more by our website, our newsletter, and social media type events. We're not going to put out on billboards, by the way, sign up for an appointment, because we're really going to limit it to the number of doses we know we will have in hand for the following week, and then plan that accordingly by calling Co-County Wellness or going on to the software. Phones are up and available at Co-County Wellness. They're going to do some training and testing over the next week or two. Also, there has been some requests from other vaccine centers to potentially work with Co-County Wellness to do the scheduling to make it a little more uniform for people. BART is ready to go. They've moved well over 100 people to vaccine centers at this point. They will be providing free bus service, fixed route, as well as shared ride service to the center, which will be at the North Reading Plaza in Muhlenberg. And the library's up and ready to go with information to hand out to people at the exterior of the building. We don't want them in the building to create more traffic in the building. But everyone's really excited about this. We want to thank everybody, especially the Community Health Center, for taking the lead on this. They will be staffing up very shortly, doing background checks and things. So we see this as rolling out in April. And last but not least, this is a common question every week. At the jail, we do have at present 6 inmates and 2 staff members who are COVID positive. Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. Turning it back to you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Barnhart. Thank you to Jessica, Commissioner Barnhart, and Brian Gottschall for those reports. We're going to move into our agenda at this time. Are there any additions or corrections for the March 25th Commissioner meeting minutes and the March 30th operation meeting minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will stand approved as presented. Is there any public comment on specific agenda items?
I don't see any.
Thank you. Under agenda item 1, enactment of a county ordinance. An ordinance authorizing the Board of Commissioners of the County of Berks to enter into an intergovernmental agreement to establish the Berks County Uniform Construction Code Board of Appeals in cooperation with participating municipalities within the county. Item 2, authorizing, under that, Budget Department. Adopt a resolution authorizing 2020 budget transfers in the amount of $9,290, 2020 appropriations in the amount of $4,597, and 2021 budget transfers in the amount of $119,940 per listing dated March 29th of 2021. We have 2 items in human resources. Item 1, authorize the promotion of Jeffrey Smith from Chief Deputy Warden to Warden at the Berks County Jail. Item 2, authorize the transfer of Joelle Bettenhausen from Office Support to Clerk of Courts to Judicial Coordinator in Court Administration. I have several items under purchasing. Item A, adopt a resolution authorizing the award and the Director of Contracts and Procurement to execute a contract for a 21-month term as a request of a result for a proposal for connecting young adults with employment for the Berks County Workforce Development Board as follows. Arbor E&T LLC out of Louisville, Kentucky. There are 2 parts to this, and not to exceed $570,937 for the term of April 1st through December 31st of 2021, and then a not to exceed of $693,132 for the term of January 1 of 2022 through December 31st of 2022. This amount is subject to the fiscal year funding provided for these services. If the funded amount, and these are outside sources, not county taxpayer, not county property tax money, if the funded amount is lower than this amount, then the agreement shall be amended to reduce the amount being funded. Item B, adopt a resolution authorizing the award and the Director of Contracts and Procurements to execute a 1-year contract as a result of an invitation to bid. This is for temporary power for voting machines, rental for elections department as follows. It goes to Production Solutions, Inc. out of Reading, PA. Estimated annual expenditure is $29,666. Item C, adopt a resolution authorizing the award and the Director of Contracts and Procurement to execute a 1-year contract as a result of an invitation to bid on printing and mailing of ballots for election services as follows. This goes to Curtis 1000 Taylor, Duluth, Georgia. Estimated annual expenditure $85,545.67. Item D, adopt a resolution authorizing the award and the Director of Contracts and Procurement to execute 2 contracts for a 3-year term with the option of extending the term of the agreement for 2 additional 1-year periods upon the mutual agreement of the parties as a result of a request for proposal for guardianship, representative payee, and the power of attorney services for the Berks County Area Agency on Aging. It goes to the Advocacy Alliance, Scranton, PA, and the Greater Reading Mental Health Alliance, Wyomissing, PA. Estimated annual expenditure range is between $75,000 and $150,000. We have several items listed under the Commissioners. Item A, adopt a resolution authorizing execution of the loan satisfaction and cancellation agreement with Berks County Women in Crisis, aka Safe Berks, satisfying and canceling the note and loan agreement dated March 30th of 1998. Item B, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute the pre-release evaluation license agreement between Motorola Solutions out of Chicago, Illinois, and the County of Berks, acting on behalf of the Berks County Department of Emergency Services, allowing the County of Berks to evaluate new hardware and software and associated documentation that Motorola may make available to the county before general release for evaluation purposes in regard to the public safety radio system. Item C, adopt a resolution ratifying, confirming, and approving the chair execution of the following agreements in regard to installation and management of the vaccine administration management system for the Berks County Vaccination Clinic located in Muhlenberg Township. Item 1, Iron Bridge Integration, Inc. out of Pittsburgh, not to exceed a fee of $5,000, a $500 installation fee, and a flat $2,000 monthly fee. And 2, Carasoft Technology Corp. out of Reston, Virginia, not to exceed $168,440. Item D, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute an amendment to the agreement between the County of Berks and the Berks Community Health Center for BCHC to provide properly trained and licensed medical staff and on-site administrative personnel necessary to operate the Berks County Vaccination Clinic in Muhlenberg Township and to administer COVID-19 vaccinations, testing, and other incidental medical services. Item E, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute the cooperative service agreement between the County of Berks and the United States Department of Agricultural, Animal, Plant, and Wildlife Health Inspection Services and the work initiation document for wildlife damage management at Antietam Lake Park. Item 3, a motion authorizing execution of contract agreements and amendments as set forth on the attached listing dated March the 30th of 2021. There are a total of 12 contracts, 1 with CareerLink, 4 with Children and Youth Services, 1 with the Commissioners, 1 with Election Services, 1 with Facilities and Operations, 1 with Information Systems, and 1 with the Berks County Jail. Item 4, a motion to ratify and confirm payments is set forth on the Controller's Office voucher listing dated March the 30th of 2021 and the payment of electronic transfers and employee payroll.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. Our treasurer's not here today, so I will read the treasurer's report. The general account total is $186,777,812.87. There is a balance to clear of $1,882,445.11, leaving a balance of $184,895,367.76. The balance in the COVID-19 Hospitality Fund, also known as CHIRP, is currently $4,770,460.86. And with that, we will move to our County Controller, Sandy Graffius, with the Controller's report.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Okay, total accounts payable, $5,482,320.32. We had a payroll this week. $4,457,337.04 for a grand total of $9,939,657.36.
Thank you very much, Sandy. Appreciate your report. We do not have a report today from our Chief Administrative Officer. He is out for the day. And with that, we will move now to commissioners' reports, and we'll begin with Commissioner Kevin Barnhart.
Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. Good morning again, everyone. I want to again congratulate Jeffrey Smith on his ascension to warden at the Berks County Jail System. We have great expectations for Warden Smith, and I'm sure he's not going to let us down. He's going to do a great job for us. He's been in training for at least the last 14 years, and moved up through the ranks and was chief deputy for quite some time. So welcome aboard in your position as Warden Jeffrey Smith. Malcolm, if you could share the screen with SOS Berks and the Medical Society on our drug take-back event. We did highlight this yesterday during our SOS Berks COVID meeting yesterday, but again, it's the 5th annual prescription drug take-back event, which will be held Saturday, April 17th from 10 to 2 at First Energy Stadium. Drive up and turn in unused or expired medications for safe disposal. As our district attorney pointed out yesterday, since its inception, we have collected in the county 62,000 pounds of unused or expired medicines. We know there's an awful lot out there. Weren't able to do these things last year, so let's get out there and get rid of those unused and expired medications on Saturday, April 17th from 10 to 2 p.m. at First Energy Stadium. Thank you, Malcolm. And 2 other quick notes. I foretold the future last Thursday when I said go Reading High. It was a night to remember on Saturday to watch that game, screaming and carrying on as I do, that they, again, were successful in becoming state champions. Thank you to Coach Perez and his team. What a tremendous shot in the arm for the city of Reading and Berks County in general. And just on that note, happy Passover and happy Easter to everyone, and hope to see you back here next week. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Barnhart. Commissioner Michael Rivera.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. Just a few things, and I want to echo 2 of the items that Commissioner Barnhart mentioned. One, congratulate Warden Smith for his new position at the jail. Wish him the best. I know he'll do a good job. He's been involved with the jail for many, many years and has many years of experience. So looking forward to working with him and continuing to move the jail forward. Also want to congratulate the Reading High School for their win. I was just looking at the my Facebook page the day before their game, so on Friday, and that was the day 4 years ago that they won the championship, and my family and I had the blessing to be able to go and sit there courtside to see the game, so it was a great opportunity. So again, I want to congratulate the team there and Coach Rick and everyone else who worked so hard to make this happen, even losing part of the year for the training. So great job to everyone involved there. Also, this past Monday, their Are You OK Berks started a suicide awareness campaign. They will be putting up 217 awareness signs in different locations, and a lot of them will be in the Reading, in the parking garages in the city, and they're bilingual both in English and in Spanish. So I want to thank the people that made this possible. It was a group of people that came together to help make this possible, because suicide is something that's serious. We have to take it seriously. So thank you again to those who made this possible. If you need assistance, know of anyone who is thinking about or who has spoken about suicide, you can call 877-236-4600 or 610-236-0530. If I can ask IT to put those numbers up. Again, it's 877-236-4600 or 610-236-0530. Also, this past weekend, there was a volunteer day for the Reading Gateway, which is part of the Schuylkill River Trail. There were over 100 volunteers there, worked for 4 to 5 hours, did a great job cleaning that up and making that area more visible, clean for the people that walk, run, and bike on it. So thank you to all the volunteers that went out there and spent part of their day there. Volunteering is something that I encourage everyone to do. Everyone has a passion for something. So if we can dedicate even a little bit of time to help an activity or an organization that's in something that has to do with the passion that we have, we could get a lot accomplished. Just tomorrow, there is a community cleanup at Pandora Park here in the city of Reading. That's being put together by a local group, and that's from 4 to 7 p.m. So if you have some time tomorrow and you want to come help and clean up in the city, that's at Pandora Park tomorrow from 4 to 7 p.m. And the last one thing is I want to wish everyone a happy holiday weekend and have a blessed Easter. Thank you very much. You're on mute.
Somebody has to do it. I'm making Jessica Jones. Am I unmuted?
Yes, you're unmuted.
Okay. I had a note up above that said I'm muted and my microphone looked like it was unmuted. Not a big deal. That's part of live TV or live social media, however you want to look at it. Several things, and I'm going to reiterate a few things that my colleagues said simply because they need to be said. I want to also congratulate former Deputy Warden Jeff Smith on his appointment as our new warden at the Berks County Jail. I want to note that the current inmate population is a little over 700 as of just a couple of days ago. And our DA, in some discussions around the hiring of the warden, reiterated his commitment and the county's commitment to make sure that the people that are incarcerated in the Berks County Jail absolutely need to be there. We need to continue to focus on making certain that the county jail is for people that need, for whatever reasons, to be separated from the community. But we should not be, as a rule, putting people in jail for nonviolent offenses when community service and fines and other things make a lot more sense. We made a lot of strides in that area, and this is an area that has financial benefits and or consequences and has social benefits and or consequences. And Warden Smith has made it very clear that he's committed to continuing to work with our probation department, with our district attorney, with our courts, our president judge, to make sure that we limit the number of people in our Berks County Jail. Secondly, I also want to congratulate Reading High. There's a fascinating statistic. I think most people were aware that Reading High was the underdog. They were going up against an undefeated team. And Reading High, I believe, had 2 losses going in.
Yeah,
there's something interesting. I believe Reading High, because of their losses, went in more prepared than the team that hadn't experienced a loss. If you think about your life, I think about my life. When we have successes, how often do we go back and say, I wonder why I was successful in doing this, and go through it and process it? No, we tend to do that when we fail, when we make a mistake. And when teams lose, they often are going back and saying, okay, why did we lose this game? It's clear that the Reading High team came in and they were prepared. I'm proud of them. It was great for the city of Reading, but let me tell you, it's a great win for the county of Berks. And hopefully everyone is celebrating Coach Perez and the team and what it means to this community. Very, very proud of you. Additionally, there's a comment on elections. We will try from time to time to give updates on elections. Hopefully later this month, we will be talking about some of the changes that we're making as a county of Berks relative to things we've learned from the election. And there are some things that we can address. We can address how we're handling pre-canvassing, what we'll do to provide better access for observers, what other security things that we're looking at. But many of the most significant issues, such as updating the voter list, I continue to get questions on the quality of the voter list. We are doing everything we are allowed to by law to update that voter list. Historically, it used to be if you didn't vote once every 4 years, your name was pulled. It now can take up to 8 years to remove a person that's died, a person that's moved. That doesn't mean that those people are able to vote. Their statuses of active and inactive. But it is a problem, and it is confusing when people get mail to people that are deceased with an application for an absentee ballot or a mail-in ballot, or you get political mail at all. That's something that has to be done at the legislative level, and I believe I said this last week. It isn't likely that any legislation is going to be passed or signed to impact the primary election. Things just aren't moving that fast up in Harrisburg. And if you have concerns about that, reach out to the legislature. Again, I've shared the County Commissioners Association has been actively engaged in these reforms. These reforms are necessary to provide consistency county to county on a variety of issues surrounding the election. One other item I saw, as far as 2021 goals update, I think that's something we can do in the future. We're still pretty preoccupied with the COVID response, the hospitality money, and now the American Rescue Plan, and making sure that those dollars are allocated appropriately, efficiently. And there's a lot of work going into that. But I'll talk to my colleagues, but hopefully we can, in the next month or so, give an update on the goals that we talked about at the beginning of the year. And then finally, I want to wish everyone a very blessed Passover and Easter holiday. And whether you celebrate those days or not, maybe we can all take this time to look inward, look at our own lives, and ask what we are doing to improve the world around us. We spend, and I think it's human nature, a lot of time critiquing other people and what they need to do to fix up their lives, or politically critiquing the other party. I would encourage you, and I'm speaking to myself, let's see what we can do as individuals to improve our community, to improve the way our lives move forward, and to improve the way people act and treat each other. Thank you very much. And we'll go now to any comments from our row officers. Yes, Sandy Graffius.
As a graduate of Reading High, and so is Kevin Barnhart, I want to add my congratulations to our team.
Absolutely, absolutely. With that, Mary, I believe we are ready to read public comment.
Thank you. Greetings, commissioners. This is from Fred Zengraf, Berkshire Heights. A free and fair November 3rd, 2020 election would have continued and improved upon President Donald Trump's accomplishments, some of which follow. Brought jobs, factories, and industries back to the USA, created more than 1.2 million manufacturing and construction jobs, put in place policies to bring back supply chains from overseas. Small business optimism broke a 35-year-old record in 2018. This is a small part of the January 2021 White House showcase list. The current administration policies will have a negative impact on those positive accomplishments to the detriment of our posterity. In every election, all parties should know the ground rules well ahead of time. Just like in financial systems, there must be standardized internal controls to rule out any possibility of illegal conduct. There can be no ambiguity. There can be no opportunity for counties to handle matters differently. There must be clearly defined rules and uniformity across the Commonwealth. To change the rules during the race or even up until the votes have already been counted is wrong and undermines the election process. That is what happened in this past election. That is why faith in the election system has been shaken for many. This was copied from January 19, 2021 letter to 2 Pennsylvania legislative leaders from numerous county commissioners, including Berks Commissioners Leinbach and Rivera. The previous paragraph I could not agree with more, as well as entire letter contents, and appreciate effort to address travesty of the November 3rd, 2020 fraudulent election. Keep up the good fight for free and fair elections. Thank you and Godspeed. William Mulgrew of Greenwich Township. A county health department will benefit neither the healthy nor the sick. Under the local health administration law, if Berks County adopts a health department, then it is required to carry out the rules and regulations of the State Department of Health. On March 18, 2020, the Pennsylvania Secretary of Health issued an interim guidance for nursing facilities during COVID-19, which reads in part, nursing care facilities must continue to accept new admissions and receive readmissions for current residents who have been discharged from the hospital, thereby causing the spread of COVID-19 into those facilities. As of March 20, 2021, the Pennsylvania Department of Health reports approximately 51.6% of deaths associated with COVID-19 in our Commonwealth occurred in nursing homes or long-term care facilities. This is the sort of incompetence when Harrisburg is put in charge. We don't need that here. We don't need to enforce Governor Wolf's orders. Christina Worley, Coomer Township. Good morning, commissioners. It is very important to Berks residents that our county has voter integrity for our elections. Although our state appears to be slow to rectify this, our county can and must be a leader so that our residents have full confidence in our election system. I urge you to prioritize that election services is taking all necessary steps to achieve voter integrity, which would include an updated voter registration log. We want Berks County to set the example for the other counties to follow. Wayne Lesher, Burnville. Good morning, commissioners. There continues to be considerable conversation about a county health department. Obviously, a county health department would add a burden to county taxpayers, and once established, it's here forever. After the economic devastation from the pandemic this past year, the last thing county taxpayers need is a tax increase. This would include my 93-year-old mother. There's always an argument for low income and disadvantaged residents, which already have several programs available, including the Berks County Health Center. Additionally, nonprofits typically operate better and more efficiently than government bureaucracies. John Archer, the Spring Township. Can the commissioners periodically provide a progress status update on its 2021 goals and objectives that it had identified at the beginning of the 2021 year? Crystal Kowalski, Wyomissing. Good morning, commissioners. I have commented many times about the punitive nature of the criminal justice system in the United States and right here at home in Berks County. I think the practice of incarcerating weekenders best illustrates the purely punitive nature of the system. A weekender serves out his or her sentence on weekends, allowing them to be in the community during the work week. I believe most people consider jail to be a place where people who are too dangerous to be in society are held in order to protect the general public. Weekenders prove this assumption to be wrong. Not only is this practice purely punitive, it is extremely dangerous in a county that has COVID cases numbering in the hundreds every day. I am currently pursuing the daily COVID case numbers among people incarcerated in the Berks County Prison. I am still in the midst of an obstacle course to get these numbers, but I did receive the daily number of staff who are COVID positive. The first positive case among staff during this outbreak occurred on March 3rd. 2 days later, after 4 additional staff tested positive, 2 weekenders were admitted. The next day saw an additional 2 positive cases among staff and another weekender admitted. By the next weekend, the cases again among the staff had risen to 23. And again, the same 3 men who were in for the weekend and then back into community on Sunday. How could anyone think this is safe or sane practice at any time during a pandemic, but especially during an outbreak? Please work with the DA, public defenders, and the president judge to end the practice of incarcerating people for purely punitive purposes. Thank you. Melvia Ahmed, why I'm missing. Good morning, commissioners. A couple of weeks ago, Commissioner Leinbach implied we are still under contract to ICE for the residential facility. If that is correct, when does that contract expire? How long is the window of time to make decisions to renew, and when is it? Dwight Wegman, Lower Heidelberg Township. I would like the commissioners to provide updates at future meetings as to discussions that are occurring between the commissioners and the legislature regarding correcting election problems. Mike Toledo, Reading. We all have a role to play in having collective impact in our community. Appreciate the partnership. Celine Schreer, Reading, PA. Last week, I submitted a question regarding the missing February 25th meeting notes, which included the agenda item regarding the Berks County Commissioner's private letter of support for ICE's white paper proposal. During your commissioners meeting last week, after I had posted my question, those notes were reinstated to the website, and Commissioner Leinbach insinuated that I and multiple other people simply did not know where to look for the previous agenda. This was a direct lie. I and others have saved screen prints of the county website taken on the night of March 24, showing the notes were not listed on the website. I would like Commissioner Leinbach to apologize for lying to us and for his attempt to cover up the fact that these notes had been removed in the first place. This is unacceptable behavior from an elected official and once again showcases that you don't care to be transparent with the public. John Jones, Wernersville. Commissioner, will you publicly rebuke the allegations of Mr. Zencraft's of voter fraud? That concludes the comments in the Q&A.
That closes our comment segment. I will make a comment. While the questions were being read, I received a phone call from someone on county staff, and I was informed that although I didn't know this last week, that the minutes had been missing for the February 25th meeting minutes, had been replaced. When I saw the question last week, I immediately went to the minutes. I saw the minutes. I copied and pasted and put them in. It was not intentional. However, and Mrs. Celine Schreier is correct, and I apologize for misrepresenting what took place. I again assure you I had no idea that they had been missing. I did what I thought was the right thing. No one made me aware of the fact that they had been missing and replaced. So my apology. You were right, Celine. I was wrong. Hopefully we can move on. It has nothing to do, I might add, with an intentional effort. On the BCRC, let me say something. The controversy over the letter. The letter was really very simple. The feds asked, is the county willing to continue the family program? Are you willing to consider taking women as a separate group or men as a separate group? And we, two of the three of us responded, yes, we were willing to continue to take families. Yes, we were willing to to consider women, and no, we were not willing to consider men. Bottom line, that's it. It is up to the feds to see what the next steps are. But I will reiterate, especially in light of the disaster that is going on in the southern border right now, where you have unaccompanied minors packed into rooms where in many cases they cannot all lay down at the same time. I'm proud of the way Berks County staff and our residential center have taken care of families over many years, predating my time here. And I will reiterate, these families, unlike people at the border, were kept together. They had chaplain services. They had a physical library and an online library in multiple languages. They had food readily available, beverage ready available any time of the day. They had an exercise room. They had music lessons. There, I saw the instruments, the violins, the guitars. Berks County Intermediate Unit provided educational services. They had 24/7 medical care. They had dental care. They had outdoor activities. They were taken on local field trips. That's the way we take care of people seeking asylum, people in the facility. We take care of them as human beings. I wish that was happening at the border right now. It clearly is a travesty, and maybe that's where a lot of people should be moving their attention. That's all I have. Any other comments?
Motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
Gotcha. Second. I'll take mine as a second. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.